Check, check, 1, 2. Currently welcome to the live stream once again. Another place where we can have some good content. I'm still working on this situation. I'm still working on this content situation as far as producing decent content. So why not just give it a try? Why not, give it a try? See how this actually works. Um, yeah, but today's subject matter is Falasha. Falasha is kind of a combination of Phil Jackson philosophy and Falasha Jews, Beta Israel and whatnot. And I just kind of mixed the name together. But in all actuality, it's interesting, man, to see, Phil Jackson. He was a person who acquired 11 rings between the Los Angeles Lakers and the also Chicago Bulls. And of course, with the help of uh, Michael Jordan, also the late great Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal and company, right? Other teammates. Um, in the book, man, just trying to find out if I could pick up a jewel. What was it that he possessed, that he was able to get a championship or get people to work together? I know in the book it talks about ego. It talks about managing personality, some of the things that he had to do in order to get people to see that in these different situations, where you consider yourself in a group dynamic, but you don't have enough people that's trained. Bill Jackson had a couple superstars that was responsible for their success, and Michael Jordan also had a coaching staff, a guy by the name of Tex Winter, who was the orchestrator and I guess the creator of triangle offense. Triangle offense is an offense that, according to the book, I didn't even necessarily. I have a book on the tech. I have a book on triangle offense, but I don't have experience in running the offense. But I do have like a manual, a text manual from Tex Winters of the triangle offense or how to implement it. Um, I don't even see why, you if you're a basketball coach, why you wouldn't have Tex Winter manual or triangle offense or try to implement it at any type of level or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Win 11 championship, 11 NBA championships was um, accounted for during that time in the offense. But to the triangle offense was actually saying that the offense is unpredictable and stationary. It gives everyone a responsibility to make a read. Everybody has to take responsibility to make a read. So once you come down and you set up the offense, right? Once you come down and you're in a group dynamic, once you come down and you're able to see the situation from what it is, and everybody that's associated with you, everybody that's on your team is seeing eye to eye. Everybody is working um, in a sort of a synchronicity level because of the triangle offense and because of the spacing. So if the ball moves in one direction, everyone has to make an adjustment. Everybody has to make a read, and that's probably like making that read is critical in the organizational setting. Making the necessary reads in the organization, making the necessary reads within the offense, making the necessary read within the organization, the group, the family. Everybody's cognizant of the play, action, and because you train, because you have the proper spacing, because you're qualified in each skill in each position, because you know your position according to the offensive scheme, the plan, the objective, um, the offense becomes kind of hard to stop because everything is based upon spacing and everybody has, there's not necessarily a one or two option. There's numerous options that can happen based upon how the situation go, the ball movement, shot clock, and things like that. What drove me in the interest, what I was interested was the fact that Phil Jackson's philosophy, uh, the triangle offense made more sense to me than his specific philosophy, I guess, and his imitation in his one breath. That's just something that I think he was interested in what I provide and what I seen based upon what he was trying to convey to the human eye with one breath was the fact that there is an interconnection between everyone, whether you like it or not. You have to play according to that interconnection, and that's what the triangle offense does. It understands the interconnection, and it's not necessarily like an isolation, and that's something that Coach um, Coach Phil Jackson, that's something that he had to do. You know, that's something that he had to do. That's something that he had to convince Kobe Bryant of because Kobe Bryant felt that because of his obsessive work ethic, that according to the trainer Phil, that he didn't necessarily want to pass the ball because he felt like he was working harder than everybody else. And so Phil Jackson had to convince him to let them do the triangle offense, convince him that hey man, in order for the win this championship, what we're gonna have to do is get everybody on the same page, man, on the same frequency. Um, so, in my philosophy and my take about it, man, from based upon the 11 rings, the book, and this 11 championships, man, Phil Jackson had a team that was qualified. He had franchise players, highly talented. He had highly talented franchise players. He had highly talented a coaching staff, and also he was in the midst of a big city in Chicago and in LA, which is going to give him the necessary push to get those championships and whatnot. So how I'm looking at it is I'm trying to see if it's a plug and play situation. To Phil Jackson, with his philosophy and his mindset, also go to a team without a Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, or Michael Jordan, get the same results. And that's something that we will never know. That's something that we can never actually speculate about. What I'm saying? What we do know is that his facilitation in both situations result in 11 NBA championships. Um, yeah, so 11 NBA championships. So if we to take that situation and we was to look at it and apply it to life situations as far as being in a group dynamic, right? You know, a cultural dynamic, a group dynamic, organization. In that situation, in the triangle offense, in the one breath philosophy, the Zen philosophy, everybody has to make the correct reads. Everybody has to know the objectives. Everybody has to know be able to make the correct reads. And you got to make those correct reads based upon whatever it may be. You feel me? Um, some of those correct reads are based upon some of the principles that you may or may not understand, or a culture dynamic. Well, what sustains you in the culture is your civilized behavior, in my opinion, how you portray yourself and how you sustain yourself in your culture, and being able to make those necessary reads is something that I think that a lot of, when it comes to creating that third dynamic, making those necessary reads is something that some people are not really talented enough to do. If I was to say, or have the knowledge to make those necessary reads, it's almost like you could be lost, right? Lost in the knowledge and whatnot, not having the necessary tools or understanding of what's going on. So having those, being lost in those situations, man, I feel if we used to apply that dynamic, um, you gotta have the skills, you gotta know the objectives, you need to run the necessary offense. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people are missing, especially when the culture needing to make the necessary read. Sometimes there's a window of opportunity in the play. There's a window of opportunity in the play, but if you don't make the necessary read and you're worried about something else, um, you can miss the easy bucket and easy pass. So in order for everyone to get on the same page, man, in order for everybody to get on the same page, man, there has to be offensive plays or offensive and defensive plays. There has to be in this situation happens. And basically that what orchestrates and what pushing that is, some sort of a compensatory conduct. Why is this relevant? This is relevant to me because I just have a personal interest in it. Possibly, one day I can apply it to some type of program, whether it's a music executive or a basketball executive, sports executive. So, so I just have to make sure that once we create this content, man, I know for one thing, man, I'm gonna have to put myself in a situation where I'm gonna have to get with an organization. I'm gonna have to get with an organization that understands and play that way. I don't have to worry about situations where I just have miscellaneous people just following me around the truck stop, on my days off. Whatnot. Um, People, like I said, not being able to make the reads, people making the reads, making the wrong plays and whatnot, based upon just being selfish or whatnot, or not necessarily what's going on. So that's what it is, man. We have to make the same reads. You have to be on the same, understand the rules, the code, and the conduct the behavior conduct in the different situations. That way, things can move in a synchronized manner. And it all comes with, how you perceive the situation of conduct. You can eat, I mean, you can fast for 40 days or 40 nights and still behave. Your fasting is not going to turn you into some type of behavior change or whatnot. Again, he doesn't know what's going on. But, you know, the behavior is not, it's not going to change if you fast. I need to go. I definitely got to go fast and whatnot. But I just, sometimes, I guess it might be my ego. I'm not if I got, but I gotta, what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to get that fast and get everything taken care of, man. That way I don't have to worry about having people. Let's see if he buys anything right here. So yeah, you got to be on the same page as far as the conduct. Now Phil Jackson, he was able to also get a job at the New York Knicks, and there was a detailed report via Chat GPT of his success and understanding his philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it didn't seem like his philosophy or his mind state, his genius brain was working when it comes to executive um, work or impact, where he was able to turn that organization around. Maybe he was just made to be a basketball coach or whatnot. So that's just how things is, actually work out. And so that's the philosophy of everything, man. That's what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? We have to make sure that we're on the same page, and we have to, get rid of the people that's not capable of making the reads, and not get rid of them, but they have to be trained. They have to be trained properly with the skills. That way they can do what's necessary.